Good morning, everyone. My name is Yaron Spiwak. I'm the music director for the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. And I want to start this beautiful weekend with Born This Way for Pride Weekend. My mama told me when I was young, we are all born superstars. She rolled up hair and put my lipstick on in the glass of her boudoir. There's nothing wrong with loving who you are, she said, 'cause he made you perfect, babe. So hold up your boy and you'll go far. Listen to me when I say I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God make no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret, just love yourself in your set. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Oh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Oh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret, 'cause God made no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret, just love yourself in your set. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Oh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Oh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Oh, I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret, just love yourself in your set. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Oh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Oh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Don't be a drag, just be a queen. Don't be a drag, just be a queen. Just be, just be. Don't be a drag, just be a queen. Don't be a drag, just be a queen. Just be.
Don't be a drag, just be a queen. I love that, Yaron. Baby, I
Just
was born
be.
this way. And on behalf of the universe who gets to experience the blessed Yaron Spiwak, thank you for expressing
Thank you.
your unique way of being and the way that you were born.
Thank you.
Thank you. What a great way to kick off Pride here in the land of the US of A and around the world, actually. And today's the day at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. We're going to take a look at Pride and celebrate Pride. So, good morning to each and every one of you. And I welcome you to our Sunday morning celebration service. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with you today, and I want to extend my gratitude on behalf of all who get to benefit by your virtual presence here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. It is Sunday, June 13th in the year 2021, and we have a wonderful service planned for you today with a fantastic guest musician and a great presentation for you. And just know that we're here to provide a safe space for each and every one of you, whether you're joining us through Zoom and or through Facebook Live or at a later date through our YouTube channel or our website, providing the safe space for you and for me and for all of us to honor that unique way that we show up on this planet as an individualized expression of the only thing there is. In our philosophy and faith and way of life, we call that thing the divine or God or the thing itself, expressing itself by means of you and by means of me. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox. I'm the spiritual leader here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. And we come together, as I've said earlier, every Sunday morning to honor the divinity that exists within each and every one of us. We kick off our service every Sunday morning with an act of namaste. That's an act to ground ourselves into the oneness of life itself. The namaste is a Sanskrit word that means literally, I bow to you. It's not bowing to you in an act of supplication. It's bowing to you, honoring, dignifying, and acknowledging the oneness of life that exists within us, that power, that presence, that thing itself. And so I invite each and every one of you, no matter where you are today, unless you're driving, to stop, place your hands in prayer position, place them over your heart. Let's take a deep breath in together. And as we lean forward, say out loud, Namaste. The divine, the life, the power in me honors and acknowledges the divine, the life, the power in you. We're a spiritual-based community that has come together for over 30 years in the land of Los Angeles, California. We practice primarily the teachings and philosophy and faith and way of life known as the science of mind. It's a compilation of all the great teachings in the universe and certainly in the Western world that were put together in a concise way by Dr. Ernest Holmes. He wrote the book called The Science of Mind, and the very essence of the teaching is oneness, that we're all one, as I've said already, and we'll continue to reference that throughout our time together this morning. But not only is there just one life, one activity, but there's one mind, and you and I each individualize that mind, and that we both experience and express and process it through our actions and our reactions and our interactions with the very thing itself. And because we live in a universe that is governed by spiritual law, it responds to this state of awareness that we have, this consciousness, if you will, that we're all interconnected by means of, and brings forth through us, by its acting upon itself, the experiences of life itself. And so if you and I want to change what's going on in the external of life itself, the way that we do that is through our thinking, through our beliefs, through our actions and reactions, in other words, how we show up in life. And most importantly, it happens and transpires in how we tend to the development and the evolution of who we know ourselves to be as divine beings. In this philosophy and faith and way of life known as the science of mind and other related new thought teachings, is what they're known as, we believe that we're each imbued with qualities. They're inclusive and not exclusive, but including peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life and love and wisdom. And one thing that my teacher taught me is to not use those as a Hail Mary, as just a statement of acknowledgement of who we are, a mantra with no power or meaning, but to hear each time that those words come out in a new way and feel the resonance, feel the vibrational frequency of what they mean to us, and remembering that that resonance field resides as a resonance within us as the power of life. So let's hear again that you and I are peace, power, beauty, and joy, light, life, love, and wisdom. And so we start our Sunday celebration service each and every Sunday morning with a ritual. I've got a screen, a graphic that I'm going to put on the screen that's going to guide us into our ritual this morning. And as I do that, I'm going to start some music for us as well. And we can begin our morning ritual called Calling in the Light. And so today, we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. The purpose of this ritual is to draw into our gathering this morning a conscious awareness of our oneness and those qualities that I spoke of earlier that we possess as complete expressions of the divine. And so as we light this candle this morning, I invite us to resonate and tune in to the quality of peace. The acronym that I use for peace is Purposeful Energy Activates Conscious Evolution. And so as we look at the animated graphics on the screen, aligning our chakras as we see on the left-hand side of the screen, as they reflect back to us life itself and feeling the energy of peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life, love and wisdom. Let's also begin to focus on the flickering flame on the screen that is reflective of the rainbow, which is a literal, visceral experience and reflection of the multitude of expressions of life that walk our planet every day. And so today, as we celebrate Pride, I invite you to take a moment and honor the uniqueness that is you. And then let's make a covenant and a commitment together to honor that uniqueness in each and every individual on our planet. And so the prayer, the statement that I have for us today to remember to be the change is from Mahatma Gandhi. And remembering that uniqueness that is you and is me. Let's come from that place as we affirm this together. Today, I offer you peace. I offer you love. I offer you friendship. For I see your beauty. I hear your need. I feel your feelings. For my wisdom flows from the highest source. And I salute that source in you, and let us work together for unity and for peace. To anchor and bond this offering to all of humanity together, we'll sing together as Yaron leads us in our song for calling in the light titled, Let There Be Peace on Earth. The lyrics are on the screen, and I invite you to sing along, remembering that peace in this case is purposeful energy, activates conscious evolution. Yaron?
Let there be peace on earth, and let there be peace with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other, perfect harmony. Let there be peace with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and share each moment with peace eternal.
for each of us that peace indeed is taking place within us right now. And so we consciously align ourselves with the energy of the divine, that I am, and allow it to flow through us in a way to invoke change within ourselves, ultimately causing and creating change on our planet. And so we stand up for all of humanity and act accordingly, remembering that we have the ability to not only engage and invoke change, but to be a part of it. And so our energy is a result of our purposefully using it in a way that is activating conscious evolution for ourselves and all. We let it be as we say together, amen. And so it is. Thank you, Yaron, and thank you to each one of you. In the context of raising our vibrational frequency and raising our energy in a way to be purposeful, to activate conscious evolution, we have an amazing guest artist with us today to provide beautiful original music. He's been with us before. I'm going to invite him to come on screen now. His name is Ray Davis, and he's just an amazing, wonderful, kind, loving, giving soul, very talented. He's been with us before in person and here virtually before. Ray, good morning.
Good morning, Reverend Keith.
So happy to have you with us today. How are you doing?
Very well. I'm glad to be here, celebrating the life divine.
Yeah, it's so wonderful to have you here. You always bring such a calmness and a high vibration and a very clear vision with your music. So I'm so happy that you're sharing that with us this morning. Tell us about the first song, original song that you're singing for us.
Yes, it is. This is a song that suggests that instead of looking to the future or dwelling on the past, the moment of enlightenment, the moment of realization is right here, right now. This is where all the blessings are.
Oh, I love it. Well, please share your blessings with us so that we get to live in that resonance field of your high vibrations.
Oh, happy to. This is called Mine the Moment. He was alone and on the road. He'd only known her for 2 weeks, some 2 years ago. 2 years of crying, of pining for the past. Why didn't we, why couldn't we have love that lasts? She was a waitress, waiting and all alone. She remembered like it was yesterday, the traveling man from 2 years ago. 2 years of hoping, of coping with fantasies. When will he return? When will I learn if he's the one for me? While she cultivates a mystery and he ruminates in history, the love they seek is beyond both space and time. Maybe we'll all forget the future. Maybe we'll all forgive the past. Maybe we'll learn to mind the moment. It's all we ever have. Here comes a worry, there goes my best regret. Will it be or is it not to be? Or must I always remember the thing that I'd rather forget? Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever have the kind of life I've always dreamed. Oh, I dreamed a dream. I can't even get past mistakes that I made in my teens. While I'm terrified of my mystery, mortified by my history, the life I seek has been hiding in plain sight. Maybe we'll all forget the future. Maybe we'll all forgive the past. Maybe we'll learn to mind the moment. It's all we ever have. The moment is all we ever have. Mind the moment. This here, this now. Oh, to excavate. It's blessings, blessings. Seek and find it in the here and now. All the power, all the blessings, blessings. Can I listen to you like your words are treasure? Can I be with myself? No judgment or measure. Can I forget and forgive? Maybe we'll all forget the future. Maybe we'll all forgive the past. Maybe we'll learn to mind the moment. Maybe we'll all forget the future. Maybe we'll all forgive the past. Maybe we'll learn to mind the moment. It's all we ever have. The moment is all we ever have. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
Wow. Ray Davis. Wow. What I heard those lyrics in such a new way just then. So incredibly profound. Thank you. It speaks to so many layers of life itself, right? About how we are mining the moment as the critical component to the evolution of consciousness,
Yes.
right? And yet at the same time, in the evolution of consciousness, through that act of healing, it gives us the opportunity to reframe our thinking around the past and the future,
Yes, it does.
right? And so
Yeah,
it doesn't discount either of them.
that's
That's
right.
what I just got out of that. It doesn't discount them. It just helps us really accomplish what we teach in this teaching is about being present in that moment. And
Yes,
it's out of that is where that higher vibration, that higher consciousness evolves. I got to tell you, as you were singing that song, I was thinking to myself, well, maybe I don't, maybe my message I'm about to give is not even accurate. But I know that's not true. I know that it helped us frame it, right? So,
that's wonderful. I'm so grateful that you heard that, you received that, and you were able to bring that for everyone. That's wonderful. That's
well, I actually really do think that that's going to tie in exactly to the message that I'm going to give today. That's going to be quite visual, as you're all going to see in just a moment. So let's all give it up for Ray Davis. He's got another fantastic song for us. On behalf of everyone that just got to be in the field of your blessings, thank you for framing that for us in that wonderful way. So we'll see you in a bit, in about 24.25 minutes. Not the future, though, 24.21 minutes now. Okay.
all the that's right.
All right, Ray, see you in a bit. So, what a great lead in for us into our message for this morning, which I'm going to pop on the screen in a minute. And I want to frame it for us in a new way before I put it on the screen. When I sat down to prepare for this morning, I wanted us to look back where we were a year ago, both as a community and where we are as humans walking this planet. And in the context of Gay Pride Sunday. Now, it's not literally Gay Pride in Los Angeles, which is where we're based right now. This weekend, sorry, I kicked my desk as I crossed my legs to get ready for us. But it is Gay Pride around the world, and it's being celebrated in different ways and different blocks of time in various different locations around our planet. And let's trust and hope that I started to say that it's happening on other planets, but maybe on other planets it's not a necessity. And yet it still is here, even though the need for it has changed somewhat over that thing that we call time that Ray was just referencing. And so today I'm going to literally share with you the keynote presentation that I had put together for us last year on Pride Sunday, as you'll note in just a moment. And it chronicles where we were in the month of June, not only in the United States of America, but specifically, it'll be framed somewhat in regards to the land of Los Angeles. And I want us to look at that literally through the lens of what Ray just set up for us, of not being attached to the past and not being attached to the future, but using it as a guidepost for mining the moment, mining the now, mining the mind of how we want to show up as beings, as conscious evolutionists on our planet. And so with that and no further ado, I shall share the screen. I will disappear off the screen in a moment, and I invite you to take the ride with us as we dive into Pride, a Way of Life. And so it was this time last year, in the month of June in the year 2020, that we kicked off Pride, a Way of Life. There was a lot of things taking place on our planet, as I said before, and certainly in the land of Los Angeles at that point. There was not an actual Pride celebration, but yet we were all being called to become more in tune with who we are, as Ernest Holmes defines us as that stamp of individuality that Spirit has placed upon us. It's about honoring the uniqueness and the differences of who we are, and specifically in that moment in regards to the LGBTQ plus community. That where we begin to look at that expression of those that make people different from what is considered the norm in the world. And I know that for our community, we're an evolved group of beings, but today we have an invitation to listen to what Ray shared with us, to hold the past in perspective, to hold the future in perspective, and yet to still live out our humanness from a divine perspective, to ask us, do we have any prejudices going on within our life today? That no matter your social status or how powerful you feel you are, we are equal in life itself, regardless of who we are, relative to our race, our creed, our social standing, our sexual orientation, and or our gender. Protest is what called forth the Pride activities that have transpired around the world. And last year at this time, I declared for each of us that it was time to protest and make your voices heard. And I still believe that that's what we're called to do, to stand up and make our voices heard so as to make a difference on this planet as we continue to navigate it, fulfilling the vision statement of our community, which is supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. And so today I invite each of us to take a self-inventory as to where we are on this journey of finding our personal self-empowerment and making our voices heard and making sure that we make a difference on this planet. And in so doing, is the result of that spiritual awakening, or is it, this making our voices heard, a result of our spiritual awakening? Protest is not a new thing on our planet. It's certainly not a new thing in the United States of America, and specifically in the 20th century. In the last year or so, we've seen it, and over the last 100 years, we've seen it. It's important for us to stand up for those that cannot stand up for themselves, and even if they can stand up for themselves, it's to stand up and to make a difference on our planet. When this community began 30 years ago, its vision statement was very simplistic, which was And we still honor that today of making a difference. And so today I invite you to check in with yourself on your journey of life of have you made a difference in your own life and the lives of others? Are you still continuing and willing to do that by using your voice, whether it's a literal voice or it's just that expression of who you are as a divine being, and acknowledging the rights of all humans on this planet and specifically here in the United States of America? It tells us in our Constitution that we are indeed equal. The words themselves are this: we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And yet we can hear these and see the written word today and maybe believe that the intention was of the purest nature, even though that we know that that may not necessarily be true. But the language in and of itself is not reflective of the modern world that we live in. For that the modern world that we live in is one where we would not use the word human. Not use the word man. We would use the word human. And so as I get this back on the screen, here we go, that we ask ourselves, are all humans created equal? Yes, they are. But in our country, they're not necessarily all honored equally. We don't all and haven't all had certain unalienable rights. And that we all haven't been given the right for pursuit of happiness. That it hasn't been true for everyone. And even though today it's more true for the people walking the planet of the United States of America than ever before, there are still numbers and numbers and numbers of individuals where this is not true. And so you and I are called today to stand up and make our voices heard and to reflect the past as many have done before us. As we can see on the screen that throughout the 20th century, there have been many thousands of people that have stood up to make their voice heard, to indeed make a difference, to do everything in our power to bring forth the realization of the intention of the Constitution of the United States of America. And so what we're called to ask ourselves today is, what can we do today in honoring the changes that are being called forth? Because it requires action for changes to be made manifest, as it says on the screen. Action changes things. And I know for each one of us, there is a need for a change to unfold so that there's no need to repeat what has transpired in the past. And so looking on the screen, as we're having some technical difficulties here, that let's look back at our history to remind us of what has transpired. That in 1913, there was the women's suffrage procession, the first large organized march on Washington for political purposes. Following that, there was a march on Washington for jobs and freedom in August of 1963, led by Dr. Martin Luther King. And you can see the masses that have gathered around the reflecting pool at the Washington Monument. It was in 1970, following the Christopher Street. There was the Christopher Street first march, called the LGBT marches, following Stonewall. And we all know of that horrific act of violence that took place that sparked the LGBTQ movement. And so as we look back to where we were on June 7th in the year 2020, we can now move through, as if we're looking at a film of our life, into the current state of today, of June 13th in the year 2021, and ask ourselves, of the very things that we declared and defined and set the intention for a year ago, have they been made manifest? And in some ways, yes, and some ways, no. And so what it tells us is that we're still called to be consciously alert, awake, alive, and be a participant in the changes that we desire to see on this planet. It was 1 year ago that the marches were taking place for Black Lives Matter to make a difference here in Los Angeles and beyond. And at the time, we all came together to look at it through the lens of I understand that I will never understand what has taken place on our planet for people of color. However, I stand with you. And yet, personally, what I've learned in the last year is that that statement of I understand that I will never understand is not true. It's true in the context of I am not a person of color as the definition that we use in our country. And yet, at the same time, I do understand degradation, disrespect, harm, and people showing up from an approach of less than. And so, what I do know is the very depth of my soul is that for me to experience change for others that I love and revere and respect, that I must not only stand with you, but stand as you, shoulder to shoulder, heart to heart, consciousness to consciousness, to do my part in healing the illness that is in our country today, the illness of separation, of less than, of seeing people differently, of seeing them from this perspective that is not from the viewpoint and the lens of the oneness of divinity. Last year, we looked at what Dr. Sanjay Gupta told us, which is the country and the world are facing a serious illness, but it's treatable, it's fixable. Let's do this together. And that is the illness of racism. And so today we get to ask ourselves, or do we still hold not only the vision of there not being racism on this planet, but are we doing our part? Henry Ford tells us that vision without execution is simply just hallucination. The great Dr. Ernest Holmes stated it this way: information without application is hallucination. And so I ask you to ask yourselves, as I ask myself, am I living in a state of hallucination, or am I stepping up and executing my vision of living life in peace, as we sang in our song earlier? Am I willing every single day, to the best of my ability, to think outside of that traditional box and do my part to show up in a way that reflects through my actions the intention that I have in my consciousness to evolve into a higher framework, to let go of the past, to let go of the future, but to mine the mind and to mind the moment, and to live from that place of namaste, to where the God in me honors and acknowledges and bows to the God in you. For inasmuch as it appears as if we're all separate pieces of a puzzle, walking the pathway of life, on our own journey of finding our personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. In our teaching and faith and philosophy of life, we say that there's only one path, and it's the path to the awakening of who we are as divine beings. And inasmuch as it appears as if we're walking it separately, we're just walking it with our own feet. We're all on the same pathway, and it's the pathway of healing. Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder, again, of the Teachings of the Science of Mind, tells us that healing is an act of revealing oneness and wholeness. And for that to happen, we must not attempt to go back to the way things were before, but rather allow what is now, as Ray was singing about, to move us closer to God. And the way for that to happen is for you and I to begin to expand and to be willing to surrender to a higher idea of the Word God and the power itself. And to then honor that in others. The act of healing is revealing our oneness. Carl Jung tells us that one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. It's by embracing those fears that we have, whether we're aware that we have them or not. And I love this graphic on the screen that tells us that our goal, our objective is to not just face our fears, but to faith our fears. Faithing our fears, living from that full assurance in the heart, living from that expanded awareness of our divine nature, with every thought and action and interaction and reaction to the best of our ability, is what will allow us to evolve into that higher vibrational frequency, that higher consciousness, that higher way of showing up in life. And that indeed, through that ripple effect of the way that life works, will move out into the universe and return to us multiplied abundantly. But our role in that process of co-creation and the releasing of that ripple effect is to be prepared when it returns to us multiplied abundantly, to meet it at its frequency, and to take a deep breath in and to live from that place of light. Last week's acronym for light was living in God's healing truth, of then remembering the oneness of life itself, and then to express that again, and to stay in that dance within us of our humanity and our divinity, and our divinity expressing through our humanity as our humanity expresses through its divinity. To remember that it's that rhythm of life itself that is always unfolding. And as we tend to attend to tuning in to our oneness and letting it out, then we indeed multiply this consciousness of oneness, and it must have an impact on those that we come in contact with, and goes even beyond those that we physically come in contact with. Well, how do we do that? We do that by raising our consciousness. 20th century terminology. But we're not living in the 20th century, we're living in the 21st century. And what we then know is that we're here to not just raise our consciousness, but to raise our frequency, to raise the very essence of who we are as we emit it out into the universe. Last week, we looked at remembering that there is colors and light and energy that is preemptively showing up prior to our physical awareness. And so that's taking place everywhere that we go in life, as it is for each and every other individualized stamp of the divine called the being of light, of human and other sentient beings. And so what a great opportunity today that we get to look at the flag, the rainbow flag with the different colors on it, and choose to believe that as we engage with sentient beings, that they each have some gradation of a different color that we're perceiving, but we're all coming together into this puzzle, if you will, this mosaic of humanity, of oneness, and then to embrace that and to live from that and to honor that and to experience that, so that we have the opportunity to then express it in a new way. Because we are indeed all interconnected. And so I invite us today on this Pride Day 2021 to hear that in a new way, to feel it in a new way. We are interconnected. We can feel that with each other on this call, just by looking at their names on the screen. Many of whom we can bring up their faces in our mind's eye and know the individualized expression of the divine that we're sharing this virtual space with. And yet we also know that if we don't even know their name, that we know the feeling of being connected and interconnected to life itself and the expressions of it. For as we teach in this teaching, there's only one power, one life, one mind. Now, I know for myself personally, and I know it's true for you, I've heard this over and over and over again, but I've made a commitment to myself to not only hear these words in a new way each time I hear them, but to feel it in a new way and to appreciate where my mind, as the mind of the divine, is showing up in this newfound awareness of the oneness. How I'm living my life, the life of the divine, in a new way in regards to the oneness of life. And how I'm using my power. And I'm not saying that from a state of arrogance. I'm saying that from a place of being aware of my awareness and knowing that you and I are all doing that together and good is being made manifest. in a way that we can't even comprehend at the moment. We are one. So we're called then to rise up today. And I love the lyrics from the song Rise Up because it tells us that yes, and probably quite true for many of us as we are coming to the end of this stage of the pandemic, and probably tired of hearing about protesting and marches and all the different facets that are required of us to be a part of the change. You're broken down and tired of living a life on a merry-go-round and you can't find the fighter. But I see it in you, so we're going to walk it out and move mountains, and we're going to walk it out together as one and move mountains, and I'll rise up. I'll rise like the day, and I'll rise up, and I know it's true that you'll do the same. I'll rise up unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again, because that's what we're called to do on this journey. And I'll rise up high like the waves, for I'll rise up. In spite of the ache, I'll rise up. When the silence isn't quiet, and it feels like getting hard to breathe, and I know you feel like dying, I'll rise up. But I promise we'll take the world to its feet and move mountains. We'll take it to its feet and rise up. And we'll move mountains, and I'll rise up. I'll rise like the day and rise up. I'll rise up. And I know that you'll do the same. And so these lyrics speak to us initially about the physical act of rising up, of creating this visual of holding hand to hand, heart to heart, walking the journey, the physical journey of finding our personal self-empowerment and our spiritual awakening of making a difference on this planet. And I encourage each of us to continue to do that and to do that in a new way, but also to look at rising up from a different perspective, remembering, as the beloved Dr. Maureen Hoyt tells us, we live in a world of and, not or. And so rising up means to do this. Relaxing into spirit energizes universal power. Relaxing into spirit. In other words, relaxing into this oneness of life that gives us the opportunity of being unencumbered and untethered to use our universal power in a new way. And as Deepak Chopra tells us, that every time we are tempted to react the same old way, ask ourselves, do we want to be a prisoner of the past or a pioneer of the future? Remember that not only do we have the opportunity to tend to the outer life, the experiences of the life, but to remember that those are a reflection of what's taking place in our inner life, our thoughts, our emotions, our memory, the way that we look at our past, and our desire in regards to how we hold the future. That we get to mine the moment and to never be a prisoner of our past, and to rise up, to relax into spirit, and so let the energy of this spirit, this universal presence, do its thing through us, through you, through me, and to take action mentally, emotionally, physically, to change things on our planet. And to remember that on this journey of life itself, that as we step into the unknown, in other words, that place that we've yet to tap into in mind, we can discover that we can be fragile and strong and terrified and brave all at the same time. Because no matter where we are at on this journey, let's remember to the right of the screen the symbol of creation that we use in the teachings of the science of mind. That it moves from the ethereal into our mind, moving into subconscious. The law takes it and brings out into form life itself. And as I spoke earlier of the mosaic, let's look at that mosaic of stained glass before us and look at all the beautiful colors and even the space of darkness in between what appears to be the vibrant colors. and to remember that within this mosaic there's only one. That's life itself. The one life, the one power, the one mind. And so what do we do now? Not just now on June 13th in the year 2021, but now in this moment that we get to mine our mind and ask ourselves, are we going to end this service today and go, that was a decent message and great music? Are we going to stand up, rise up, think anew, and show up differently? Well, how do we do that, and where do we start? Well, I love what Michael Jackson tells us. We start by looking at the person in the mirror. The lyrics are, I'm starting with the human in the mirror. I'm changing those, as you can see. I'm asking them to change their way. And no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change. Right now. Not tomorrow. Not next week. And not that there's anything wrong with that. But as our beloved Ray Davis tells us, let's mine the moment as we mine, M-I-N-E, our mind. And so we do that by beginning the conversation of what we want to see differently. We begin the conversation with the self, of how do we see ourselves? How do we want to show up? What are we willing to do? And how do we indeed see others? Last year, we were ready to start the conversation about race, and I think that continues to matter in ways that are beyond significant. But whether we're talking about race or sexual orientation or gender or political opinions, we need to understand that it matters that we're willing to show up and have the conversations. And I know they're not always easy to have, but what I do know is that there is a benefit and a reward to the willingness and the ability to talk about the differences in life. Because everyone has an identity, in this case, a racialized identity. A racialized identity has a major impact on a person's life, and it's a defining social construct in our American life. And so let's look at that and be willing to address that as we continue this conversation and all conversations moving forward in life. Charlie Brown says, what can I do? It's important for us to remember that what we can do is not be blind to the invisible system of privilege that we're a part of, which is inclusive of race and many other elements in our system, whereby people are not honored with justice and equality and equanimity. And so I love this instruction that we have here, that being told to develop an awareness right now. That's what we can do, is begin to develop an awareness of other people's experiences. And once you're aware that not everyone experiences in the world is the same ways that you do, it's important to become familiar with the ways, both general and specific, in which their experiences differ from your own. Try to put yourself in other people's shoes and consider how your life may be different if you face the barriers and challenges that they have. Understand that these barriers are outside of their control, just as your privilege is often outside of yours. Work on having compassion for people whose lives are different from yours, and learn to be as frustrated by the barriers they face as you would be if you had to deal with them yourself. Just because it doesn't affect you in that traditional physical sense doesn't mean it's not vitally important to make changes. And so today, in this world that we're living in, whether it's racial or social or sexual or gender or employment-wise or housing-wise, let's all, you and I, make a commitment to each other to stand up, to show up, to have the conversation, to be willing to protest the injustices of the world, by either making a statement or an action of disapproval using our voice, by standing up from a verb and expressing this objection to what someone has said or done or affecting others, to be willing to declare firmly and emphatically to others what we believe and what we're willing to do remembering that a protest is a public expression of objection, disapproval, or dissent towards an idea or a course of action, typically a political one. But protests can take many different forms, from individual statements to mass demonstrations. And so today, let's you and I begin to make our voice heard in a new way. Let's listen to the words that come out of our mouth as we begin to act up and act out this new-found consciousness, awareness, state of mind that is reflected of the moment that we're committing to be a conscious participant in things changing. It's Pride Month around the world. And so let's engage in this new way of life by expressing life in a new way. For we are indeed one. That is a spiritual truth. Let yourself know it and act in accordance in a new way today. And so it is. Thank you. And so it's my pleasure and privilege to bring back to our service this morning the one and only Ray Davis, who's going to share another original song with us. Ray, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. Powerful message.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot to mine from that, for real.
Yes, it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Ray Davis.
This song is called Get Ready to Get, and speaks of what happens when we put something out. What we say we're interested in most certainly will show up. This is called Get Ready to Get. Well, you got the right to be happy, and you got the right to feel blue. You got the right to keep on pushing, or to go through no changes you don't want to. But if you're gonna ask for more, get ready to get. See, some people say what they don't like, and then they live with what they don't like. Well, once they've lived with what they like, all they do is talk about what they like. Yeah. But if you're gonna ask for more, get ready to get. Well, get ready when you say the word. Get ready, because the universe is heard if you say it and you believe that it's true. God can't help it but to do it to you. See, what it is what you say, and what you say has got to be. So if you think I wanna move a little higher, speak your word and the truth will set you free. If you're gonna ask for more, get ready to get. Heard. If you say it and you believe that it's true, God can't help it but to do it through you. See, what it is what you say, and what you say surely got to be. So if you think you want to move a little higher, speak your word and the truth will set you free. Yeah. If you're gonna ask for more, if you're gonna ask for more, if you're gonna ask for more, get ready to get it. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Woo! I love it. Get ready. Fantastic. Yeah. Well, you're a great songwriter, Ray.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful, most wonderful. Well, on behalf of everyone here at Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, thank you for being here with us today and just bringing all that is Ray Davis here. And I know your vision is to create high vibrational music, and I want you to know that you are accomplishing that. So you're good. Let's all give Ray a big round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so now is the time in our service that we get to come together and support our community financially. As a beloved community that's been here for, as I said before, 30 years, we thrive on the support of you. And so we have the opportunity now to be a conscious, awake, conscious giver. And so the methods to do that are as follows. And I want to say thank you in advance for all of your financial support over the last years, and trust and know that that will continue, and to know that you're a blessing to each and every one of us. You can go to our website, CSL-LA.org, and click on donate. Or you can go to the app in the App Store. Our app is a wealth of information. Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. It guides you through by clicking on the upper left bars, and the screen will come up and you can see the Donate tab. Or you can mail in a check. Our address is 1200 North La Brea Avenue, West Hollywood, California, 90038. Or you can call me, as my phone number is on the screen, and I can handle it for you privately. As you prepare, each of us prepares to do that, Yaron will come on the screen and guide us through our conscious giving song called Love Is My Decision. Welcome back, Yaron.
Thank you. Love is my decision. It's my decision to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. One side to side to change my mind. Source will show me how. Love is my decision, yeah. My decision right here, right now.
Thank you, Yaron. And thank you to each one of you. So share with you what's happening here at CSL-LA as we move into the summer, and happy Pride Month once again. Our weekly morning meditation continues on Wednesday morning at 8:30 a.m. All of that information can be found at our website, csl-la.org, or our app in the App Store. It's a time during the week to come together through Zoom and just come together for meditation. It's a guided meditation. It lasts anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes, and it's just an opportunity for each of us to take a deep breath in on that midweek time and to center ourselves and to connect to the divine, the power, life itself. And so I invite you all to participate in that. Don't have to necessarily turn your camera on, so you don't have to be beautified if that's important to you. All the rest of us that show up are oftentimes, if we turn our cameras on, non-coiffed, I will put it that way, or baseball hats, or you can join us once again and keep your camera off. If you'd like to connect to the past meditations that are available through our YouTube channel, you can get all that information on our website and or through the app in the App Store. We have a weekly e-newsletter that goes out early in the week. If you'd like to sign up for that and you're not receiving it, you can get that at our website again, csl-la.org. There's a daily new thought for the day text that goes out every day at 7:30 a.m. in the morning. If you're receiving that and enjoying it, I appreciate that. And if you're not and you would like to, you can reach out to me through our website, and we'll be happy to add you to the list. I'm looking at doing some type of mid-summer class that'll be a 2 or 3 week class. So just be on the lookout for that, maybe a 4-week class. And if you could send any information to me of your interest or desire for that, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you have any questions or comments regarding what's transpiring here at CSL-LA.org, the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, feel free to reach out to myself or one of our practitioners, and you can find their information once again on our website. Also, please follow us on social media. You can join us on Facebook as well as our Instagram. All that information again on our website, as well as you can find us through our YouTube channel. A huge thank you to our fantastic guest musician this morning, Ray Davis. A huge thank you for being here and bringing that wonderful original music that was both so timely and appropriate, and just a blessing to bear witness to and be in the presence of. Also, a big thank you to Yaron Spiwak, our music director, who's joining us from Orlando, Florida today. Thank you for making that work, Yaron, and all the work that you do for us. A big thank you to our audio technician, Travis Smith, who works quite diligently to help us bring our best face and sound forward for each and every one of you. And a big thank you to Robert Hensley, who's constantly working through a learning curve for all of us through our social media sites and Zoom, as the guidelines and the methodology of that is changing on the fly. And we're all learning on the fly. So thank you to Robert Hensley for riding that ride with us and showing up and being so diligent in regards to that. Big thank you to him. A big thank you to each one of you for consciously showing up and being a participant on this day and every day that you do so. Know that you indeed are making a difference on our planet just by being you. And we all learn today we get to be more and more and more every day. And so as we close out with a meditation, I'm going to take us through a brief guided meditation and affirmative prayer. After that, we'll say goodbye to those that have joined us on Facebook, and then those of you that have remained on Zoom, we can turn our cameras on and have a brief time of connecting and saying hello. And after that, we will bid adieu until we come together again. And so with that, let's have a meditation. And so I invite you to take a deep breath in as we inhale through the nose to the count of 3. 1, 2, and 3, holding. And as we exhale out through the mouth, 1, 2, 3. As we peer into the back of our eyelids, that place called the optic screen, I invite us all to bring into our mind's eye that mosaic of stained glass that we saw on the screen. Letting it be a reference point, a visual of all expressions of life on this planet, and the very things that make each one of us unique and different. As we continue to breathe, remembering, as Ernest Holmes says, that spirit has placed the stamp of individuality upon itself and called it you. That's true for every sentient being. And so let's each make a commitment to ourselves today, a declaration, a covenant, if you will. That today's the day that we invoke change. Today is the day that we have the conversations. Not for the purpose of convincing or coercing, but for the purpose of creating a safe space to listen, to honor, to welcome, a place where we feel the resonance field of the interconnectedness of life itself. And so each action in life is either an action of living or dying. And so let's use our actions for the purpose of living life and honoring life, the life of the divine, as it expresses itself by means of its expressions. And let's choose to protest out loud anything or anyone that's showing up in life that is degrading, dehumanizing, causing or creating injustice, imbalance, inhumanity, or a lack of equanimity or equality for any other being of light and life. So we use our power, our light, to dispel the darkness. And we do that by mining the moment of our mind. As we inhale together and exhale. Repeating, inhale and exhale, slowly opening our eyes. Seeing life anew as we choose to be new in it. And so it is. For those of you that have joined us through Facebook, thank you for being here. Know that you are the blessing of life itself. Continue to share and shed light through those blessings. Have a blessed day, a blessed moment, a blessed week, and hope to see you again. Namaste.